So now that we are left with only 3 days for the exam, I am reminded of our days. And I remember 3 days I used to have this expectation from myself to cover the entire syllabus at least 3 times. And this is also, I'm reminded of this when students talk to you during these. I'm sure you're all getting many messages from the students. So what do you think in these 3 days one has to do? Should they really complete the syllabus 3 times, the entire syllabus? Do you think I was right in trying to do that?
I think covering the syllabus in 3 days is too ambitious a task to be completed.
3 times.
Yeah, 3 times. It's too ambitious a task to be completed. That's not actually possible. But at the same time, I think revision is the key. But the revision in this case has to be more targeted. So by now, the students would have attempted multiple mock tests. So after attempting multiple mock tests, by now the students would have actually identified their weak areas.
True.
And I think they need to work upon their weak areas. That's the first and most important thing. Second thing, in each of the subject, there are always certain recurring themes. Even though they say that UPSC Prelims is very unpredictable, but there are certain recurring themes.
Very true.
I think Gajanan sir will speak about history, Mayank sir will speak about geography, but as far as economy is concerned, if you carefully analyze the PYQs, role of RBI is one of the recurring theme. 2018, 2021, 2022. Questions have been repeatedly asked on role of RBI. With respect to FDI, thrice 2020, 2021, 2022, back to back FDI. Same way questions have been
And
asked
this is
with
only
respect to,
from the last 5 years.
yes, from
If you
last
take
5
from
years.
2013, I'm sure these themes are
There are
repeated
a lot
again.
of recurring themes. Same we can say with respect to exchange rate management. In last 5 years, at least thrice questions have been asked. MSP repeatedly every year, almost like in last 4 years, I guess 3 questions have been asked on MSP. So what I think is, rather than covering entire length and breadth of syllabus, they need to pinpoint the areas or topics which have a higher probability of being asked in the prelims examination, and on those topics they need to focus more upon. I think that is what the students have to focus upon.
So geography has been one area which has troubled me a lot.
In geography, there are certain specific areas which definitely has to come up in the examination, and what Basava sir is saying is completely applicable to geography also. So it is not possible to cover entire geography in 3 days, but these important themes, for example, map entries, 100% map entry questions will come, and every year they are coming. Apart from that, cropping pattern are the topics. Some of the topics are there, which repetitively appear in the prelims paper, and these are the areas which students can focus upon in the last 3 days of time period. But if they will try to read anything new, to my understanding, they may not be able to recall that content in the examination. In the last 3 days, anything new has to be avoided completely. Whatever you have already prepared till now, that part has to be, you can say, gone through, but not completely. Broadly, the important areas which I've given the example already: map section, topping pattern, and map section is in both the sections, that physical geography and the Indian geography. So multiple questions means if you take these two topics only, last year around 6-7 questions has come up in prelims paper out of these two topics, and that's why it holds lots of weightage. So my recommendation to the students in the last 3 days, that at least cover these two broad areas and revise them in the last 3 days of time. And if they find anything else which is important from looking at the perspective of PYQs, that also can be added.
Coming to
Arun
history,
sir, Basava sir, Mayank sir, first of all, I'll disappoint you. मैं इतनी इंटेलेक्चुअल बातें नहीं करूँगा. Last 3-4 days, my recommendation is very simple to the student. Do not try to read much. It's that simple a thing. Because whatever you read in last like 3-4 days, it's like very improbable that what UPSC would exactly ask you from. Yes, there are some focus areas as Baswa sir, Mayank sir told in each subject, and certainly they should be focused, but you should not try to read much, because if you agitate your subconscious too much, it becomes very difficult to retrieve the information. अब मान लीजिए कि आप घर से अपनी कोचिंग के लिए भागते हुए आ रहे हैं. इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू फाइंड इवन अ बुक दैट यू आर लुकिंग फॉर. आपके सामने किताब रखी होगी, आप उसे खोज नहीं पा रहे होंगे क्योंकि आप हड़बड़ी में, योर सबकॉन्शियस इज सो एजिटेटेड. इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू रिट्रीव दैट इन्फॉर्मेशन. मम्मी आएंगी, वहीं से वो किताब उठा कर दे देंगे. So first thing is to keep your subconscious very calm. That is the priority in last 3 days.
True, it is true.
Because academics is something that has to be taken care of for a UPSC like exam. In a longer run, 1.5 years, we have been studying for UPSC. But then the last 3-4 days, 3 days just before the exam, the first priority is to keep yourself calm and happy.
Sir, how do you keep yourself? I mean, nobody has become calm by being asked to be calm. So, what do you suggest
So Arun
students
sir,
do?
this is a question that has often been asked by the student, that if I say that you have to keep your calm, it's easier said than done. But there are very simple ways of keeping yourself calm. Like, I'll give you one good example. Listening to very good music. And I'm asking about good music. No? Maybe a music by Bacha and Honey Singh may not be that good music for exam, at least for UPSC. When you are agitating yourself even more, maybe a very soothing, a very calm, maybe Carnatic music, maybe a very good Hindustani music, maybe a very good ghazal, maybe a very good instrumental, but that is like meditation. No? Having a good sleep,
That's a great
no?
advice.
Yeah.
Like having a good sleep of like at least 6 hours, that would keep yourself very calm, your subconscious very calm. Then talking to your friends and family, not too much, but certain time. When you get that emotional support from family and friend, you realize that UPS is not everything. It's just part of your life. No? And basically, the actual support, emotional support from family and friend, it makes you realize that result is just a secondary thing. What they appreciate so much is your effort toward the exam. And that makes you realize that it is not the result. It is your effort that has already counted. You have already got a result. The respect of your family and the friends. They are so proud of you. You should understand that. You're like they're Sachin Tendulkar, trying for the best. At the same time, reverse thing should also be done. Like if someone is very close to you, like your best friend, no, like close in your family, लड़ाई बिल्कुल नहीं करेंगे, because that will completely distract you. The sense of guilt, जो आत्मग्लानि का बोध है, वो आपको पूरी तरह से पढ़ाई से हटा देगा. And one last thing, that if you really want to keep yourself calm and happy, then you'll have to understand that the major battles and the major victors, like I am from history background, so whether you talk about Maharana Pratap or Lakshmi Bai or all of them, they are never known for the results of the war. They are known for their efforts. They are always known for the efforts. So it is your effort that would count. If there is a mild degree of detachment with the exam, it would keep yourself very calm, happy. And certainly it's not perfect, but certainly these are some of the little things that will help you in keeping yourself calm.
So keeping
I
calm.
wish I really had a friend like you during my preparation so that I could keep
Yeah.
myself
At
calm.
least we are friends now.
That's a great.
We
Yeah,
all-
yeah.
Yes, definitely.
The best thing in Rouse that I actually find that the teaching faculty is just like it's like a team.
A community
We
of
are all
friends.
the time like having so much fun and so much work as well. Of course, yes, but it's like such a good team. Like we
It's
are
a family.
great friends.
It's a
It's a
family.
like a
family.
family.
It's a family.
Yeah.
But this keeping calm is individual specific. So we cannot just keep it in one way that listen to the music. But one is individual is more aware of that what can keep himself or herself calm, and that they already know, because it's not just the times of examination. In general days also one can feel anxiety, but how they get over it.
So
that
one
is
size
what they
fits
know.
all approach does not work.
That does not
That's
work
what-
out. That
Yeah.
does not
Certainly
work
it
out.
What
I rem-
actually I think is to be calm, composed. I do believe that confidence should be there in the
Yeah,
students.
bit.
That they have put in efforts for the entire year. And that confidence, if they are able to get, yes, I will be able to achieve this particular target. That very fact that you are feeling that confident will keep yourself cool, calm, and composed.
Truly.
I think that is what is important.
And everyone
It's
is
the most
starting this
important thing.
journey from the stage one itself, whether the candidate is already in service is trying to improve the rank, or let's say the candidate who has never appeared also. Everyone is going to face the fresh question paper of prelims, where the questions will be completely different from the past years.
True.
So this notion should not come that the repeaters or let's say the candidates who are already in services will do very well. It's not a guarantee. I've seen many candidates who are already in services but they fail to clear prelims in the next attempt. And many of them do definitely are there who actually improve their rank and get into IAS cadre also. So this type of notion shall not come in the minds of the student. Everyone is at the same level and is starting from the fresh stage itself. So fight.
Yeah, sir. So from what you have said recently, sir, I just recalled the recent match between India and Pakistan actually.
Yes.
So India got all out at 1-1-19. I had actually given up hopes and I went to sleep. Then morning I got a message that India actually won the match.
Won the match.
And I was very surprised as to what actually happened that India won the match. And I was looking at the press conference of India's captain, Rohit Sharma. In that press conference, what he said is if India's batting can collapse in last 10 overs, Pakistan's batting can also collapse. And look at the confidence. Like when we are watching the match, we had given up hopes. But he was confident that India will win. Not just captain, even the players were also confident. So I don't think that students should feel nervous, have butterflies in the stomach, they should feel jittery. I think they
If
should be
it's tough for
confident.
you, if it,
And
it's
I'll
tough
add
for
Yeah,
here
it's tough for
everyone.
everyone.
And
Exactly.
I'll add here to the
And you
Basava's
and to
point.
your teachers also with Google and books.
Yeah.
I'll add here to Basava's point that suppose last 3 days everybody is so nervous, is not looking at anything, and like whatever they're trying to go through, they're not assimilating it. But suppose you're just keeping your calm. It's not perfect calm, but you are far more calmer compared to other candidates. Then at least you're adding 3 more days of preparation to your overall preparation compared to other candidates. क्योंकि आप शांत हैं तो आप बाकी लोगों से थोड़े आगे हैं. तो आप जितना शांत रहेंगे एग्जाम में, that would be far more better.
And usually students say that sir, question paper can come in very difficult part also. So if the question paper is difficult, it is for everyone. It's not just for you.
Yeah.
Because everyone is getting the fresh question paper and it's a relative examination.
So with so much advice, this last week I remember telling someone something and tell me if I told him the right thing. Otherwise, I'll ask him to watch this video again. And the category of the student, I do believe that one size fits all approach does not work. And this is fairly a calm student. So 2 students I'll talk about. One is a fairly calm student.
हाँ.
I said, you just do whatever you're doing. I don't have to tell you anything. If you want to tell me something, I just listen to what he spoke. That's all. The other student is kind of jittery. So I told him, see, you have about 10 days. This is an opportunity for you to focus on your well-being and maybe think of something that you wanted to do always. He wanted to play keyboard for a very long time. I said, you start this process from tomorrow. You enroll for a class from tomorrow. You have only 10 days. You have studied whatever you had to study. Spend a couple of hours on your keyboard classes and come back, make a list of things that you wanted to study and study only that. But 2 hours, go do this. Early in the morning, go maybe for a run, or the best advice would be actually take a bike or, cycle ride, go on a cycle ride. If you don't know what to do, just go on a cycle ride or a run. I think that would, and then focus on your food and the kind of food, the aspiration that you had for a well-being, because for 1 year or 1.5 years, 2 years, you spent so much time on your preparation, you've ignored all other aspects. Now the focus actually should shift from the exam. Forget about the exam. Focus should shift from the exam to well-being. Because well-being is a very important component of
And it is
your
true.
exam.
If one is not, you can say, in good state of health, then how can you perform in the
So do you think
examination?
I've given him the right advice?
I think
sir?
people should
Definitely,
indulge
sir.
themselves in some kind of hobbies because they have to be cool, calm, and composed. If you look at the great sports persons, the great personalities who have achieved great heights in their life, just before a particular match or before the
An
D-Day,
important event.
before
Yeah.
any particular event, they switch off.
They switch off.
They switch off completely from the external world, and they are just being
their own
with
zone.
themselves. They are with peace with themselves. I think this is what is.
Yes, certainly
Yeah.
this is.
Yeah.
And I completely agree with Arun sir in one way that like UPSC is like marathon. You cannot expect to cover everything in last 3-4 days.
Not
Last 3-4
possible, yes.
days, rather you should worry about your mental health. No, when you're very well, no, in thinking, you're doing well in the exam. And I totally agree with Basva sir in this respect that in last 3-4 days, even if you're not doing anything that would create super pressure on you, so you should then focus on the meaty area. For example, Mayank sir is the expert in geography, but I would say that in geography, suppose a meaty area is like Israel-Palestine war has created so much of news, then knowing about Israel, Palestine, geographic area, Gaza Strip, West Bank, Dead Sea, that location becomes probable for the exam, and you should know about that. Like Baswa sir is like super expert in economy, and Arun sir is super expert in like society, social justice, and so many other parts. But I'll combine both the areas. Like now, UPSC is asking question on socio-economy. No, socio-economy like part, like there are multiple schemes of government, but there are some schemes which are in news now. They become the focus area for social justice. We should focus on that. Like for history, like it will take just 5 minutes if you go through the map of Ashokan inscriptions. But that's a very probable area. Like last 5 years, multiple times they have been asking questions from Ashoka's inscription. Twice they have already asked the question. So that would take just 5 years, but they are like the meatiest part of the paper. So keep doing something that would be probable, but at the same time, keep yourself light. Very light.
Yes.
So lastly, about the logistics, I mean, being very cool and calm also, they should not forget to look at their hall ticket, their centers, if at all, if there is a
Certainly.
confusion, sometimes there's a confusion in the centers. And so take care of the logistics. I think that is what you would say.
Yes,
One,
yes.
this very important aspect.
Yeah.
How would you
It
reach
is,
the
yes.
center depending on which city you are in?
Yes, it is.
Certainly it is. There is no doubt about this.
Apart from that, I think we should also advise the students on what do they actually should do in the exam hall. Now, especially since the pattern of UPSC exam has got changed, until before the last year, students would have easily attempted, let's say, around 90 questions out of 100 questions. But now, since the pattern has got changed, where to large extent it's very difficult to eliminate the questions, now most of the students have this query: ki what is the ideal number of questions which they should attempt? Like, should they still go with 90 or should it be like 65, 75? What do you think, sir?
I think it should be decided on the day of the exam, sir. Seeing the
And when-
paper,
and
depending
when the-
on the paper.
In that duration
Considering
of
ki
2
the
hours.
paper is same as last year in that.
Similar, I think the attempts should definitely be less. Should an ideal attempt, I would have in my, I mean, I would not prescribe anyone any number, but if I would have attempted the paper, it would be 70 to 75.
70 to 75.
But I mean, again, I would decide on the basis.
But
of
it depends upon the
paper.
student also, that because it's very subjective. Many students, they have attempted 80, 85 also.
but
Number
the
of
question-
number of
Depend
questions you are
upon the-
attempting is one thing, but how many of them are correct is another thing.
Accuracy needs to be high.
Accuracy definitely has to be high in these examinations where negative marking is there.
It's true that it would depend upon the individual ability, but we have to be very careful that unless you are attempting a decent number of questions, the negative marking would not allow a candidate to cross over the cutoff. First thing that we have to take care of. So a decent attempt should always be there. Second thing, the students must be very happy about the new pattern because the UPSC is making CSAT quite difficult in last 2-3 years. So mostly those who are very good in GS, they have found it difficult to cross over the cutoff of CSAT. So if you are clearing very easily the cutoff of CSAT, the GS paper rather becomes easier for you because the cutoff goes down now. No? So just be careful about CSAT paper, more careful about CSAT paper. Then in GS, basically you're getting now less challenge compared to earlier years. So certainly you have to be mindful that the cutoff would go down, but at the same time, decent attempt should always be there.
Obviously,
Then only
decent
you are
attempt,
clearing
yes.
that cutoff because the negative marking, it's always there. Think about it. The truth is that even at the end of the day, when the exam paper is there, it's very difficult for 10 even experts to come up with a similar type of solution for all the questions. It's very difficult then and there to find exact solutions by the students. That is the truth, no? So at some intelligent guess is always there. Some element of intelligence guess is always there. If you can eliminate even 2 of the options, the rest of the 2 would give you 50% of the probability. And if you can go for intelligent guess, that would increase the probability. It is there. But yes, you have to be mindful that if you're attempting too many questions in this new pattern that is more difficult, then that would backfire.
But there is not a single figure of the number of questions we can stick to. It has to be The decision has to be taken up in the examination hall,
in the examination hall,
depending
and-
upon the nature of the question
yes.
paper.
And sir, like if you carefully analyze last year prelims paper, uh, you can see in almost all the subjects, at least 45 to 50% of the questions can be rated as easy to moderate. At least 45 to 50. So when students are attempting the prelims paper, normally we advise the students to attempt the prelims paper in 3 iterations, right? So in the first iteration, if they could identify easy to moderate question, which they are very well sure of, out of 100 questions, probably 45 to 50 for an average student. Obviously, it is very subjective. It all depends upon the level of preparation of a student. But on an average, for an average student, I would say in the first iteration, 45 to 50 questions, which are easy to moderate, can very well be attempted. The remaining questions is where the real challenge lies. And especially I've been like, there are so many students who have been speaking to me on this. So the problem which they are facing is, let's say there is a question, be it related to history, geography, science and tech. Let's say there are 4 statements. The thing is, they'll know that 3 statements for sure are right. The problem is in the 4th statement.
Third or the fourth statement.
Yeah.
That
So
becomes
one
very
statement they'll probably not know whether it's correct or not. And now the pattern of the question is such that unless you know whether that statement is right or not, you'll not be able to get the right answer.
No, but here is the case that UPSC designs the paper in such a manner.
So should
They
they
purposefully
attempt
keeping
it?
the questions. Actually, they can attempt, but as Gajan sir mentioned, that intelligent guess, which is analytical ways are there to handle the statements also. In geography, I've seen that many questions were like this, that where you can do elimination if you make the intelligent guess. Without that, it is not possible.
But how do you know on the spot that that's an intelligent guess? That's the biggest problem.
Foundation, fundamental part actually.
I can resonate with what you're saying. I mean, I think then the bottom line is, in an exam where the cutoffs are less than 40% nowadays, why should you even approach the paper in wanting to maximize the number of questions you want to attempt, or number of questions you want to get right? Forget about attempt.
No, but
If the approach is to get maximum right, 100 questions right, but if the cutoffs are 40%, so the very nature of exam is not suited for somebody who is thinking, I have to get as many right as possible.
no, but Arun sir, this is very subjective area. When you're sitting in the examination hall, you're never sure whether this year cutoff will be 40% or 45 or 50%. It can change any time.
Ha.
UPSC can change any time. So
No, but then that is a cutoff. So it is much
obviously-
more than the average.
obviously the student has to attempt the question paper in a manner that I should score the maximum out of it.
Acha.
Does not mean
I don't know. Somehow I feel that,
That
you know,
is
you
the
should
problem.
never
Look,
aim for the
even-
maximum.
That is the problem, Arun sir.
In
That
an
even
exam
for
where the-
teachers, they do not agree for the approach. How
True.
difficult it is for the students to find the approach. That is the
I
challenge.
think with
But
this
then-
confusion, putting this confusion in students' head, I think we should wrap up with our
I think
talk. Putting this
I have a
confusion.
point with respect to intelligent guesses. I have a point with respect to
Yeah.
intelligent guesses.
Yes, I have also one that I'll
Yeah.
tell you after Basava,
Yeah, yeah.
sir.
With respect to intelligent guesses, what I feel is that they have given multiple mock tests, right? So in the mock test, they would have already identified कि so and so subject, so and so topic is my strength area. If you are stuck on a question which is your strength area, and if you have good conceptual understanding, go for it.
Yeah.
But you have attempted the mock test, you know ki this is not my strength area, this is my weak area. And if you're stuck on that topic, do not even attempt it.
It's-
I think that strength and weakness has to be looked into while taking those.
Yeah,
intelligent
intelligent guess is not guessing
Yes.
the psyche of the examiner and all of this, but
And I
actually
would
based
add
on
here
your own
that, sir,
strength
there's
and
a very
weaknesses.
simple
Yeah.
trick that first, like suppose 4 options are given, unless you can eliminate 2, do not go for intelligent guess because that would
Definitely.
not be
Yeah.
intelligent at all.
definitely
Ah.
yes, it is true.
Second thing is that the most difficult words are basically the markers. Like if I say that Dada Bhai Nauroji established the religious reform association that was called Rehnumai Mazda Yashnan Sabha. It's very difficult. No, it's very difficult.
Yeah, I didn't
but
understand
it is
what you
that
said.
difficult. It's that difficult that once you see this, it is always stored in your subconscious that other names would look very different compared to it. So this would act like a marker. In elimination statement, one statement that can eliminate more than one options, UPSC would always put the markers which are easier to figure out because other names would look very similar. But this type of name would always provoke you to think about it because it's more difficult. UPSC is always using that like a marker to eliminate other statements. But certainly you should not use intelligent guess even unless you can go for eliminating two of the options.
Two.
But intelligent guess is always there because from the start itself, UPSC is making sure that those who are good in reading much, they're voracious readers. They're always getting preference over those who are reading less because those who are reading more, they can always go for more intelligent like
Guesses.
Yes.
And in geography, if you link some various topics, then it can lead you to the final answer. In geography, particularly.
Yeah.
Other
Even in-
subjects,
Easier
I'm not
to-
sure about it, but in geography, it is the case.
Yeah.
Because topics are interlinked to each other. So, intelligent guess means that try to think that this particular route area is connected to what topics, try to interlink them, you may be able to find the answer.
Yeah.
It's true for all the subject. Like once they ask about that Buddha visited which of the places, one of the options was like Taxila. But Taxila is in like Rawalpindi and other areas of Pakistan that you're talking about. It's very improbable geographically to find that Buddha would have visited to that place. Starting from Lumbini, Kapilvastu, like Shravasti, like places in Bihar and UP, to go to that place for preaching, it's very improbable. Like geography, history would get connected. Like all the subjects, they are interlinked. That was always helping you to eliminate multiple options.
I think we have enough
Yes.
diversified opinions and diverse ideas for the students. They can pick up whatever they want and they can mock at the other ones also, so that it will help them laugh maybe.
Certainly.
Content for a good laugh. So I think with that we should
Yes.
Yeah.
end
I
our
think,
discussion.
are there
Sir,
any-
anything else you want to add?
And if they have any other doubts, we would actually welcome them to put their doubts in the comment section. And certainly we would like to entertain them as well. So if you have any
Definitely,
doubt,
yes.
like
And we are always
any doubt-
available here. They can always come and meet
Definitely,
us.
yes.
And yes,
Definitely.
you can
Yes,
always
yes.
come at Rouse. You can discuss.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All the best.
All the
All the
All the
best. Good luck for all.
All the best.